Okay, me too. Okay, it's nice to meet you.
So I want to ask you specifically about what are the dangerous effects that are happening now with regard to the sewage crisis.
First of all, we have to say that the main source of water in the Gaza Strip is the groundwater aquifer. There is no other sources for us. There is no surface water, and there is no treatment plants, strategic treatment plants, desalination or others. So the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip, 2 million people live in this small area, 387 square meter. It's the most crowded area, most dense. 5,000 people live in a kilometer, 1 square kilometer, and all of them rely completely on the groundwater as a source of water. The destruction, or first of all, the siege and the closure of the borders for 9 years ago by the Israeli occupation, and then the most critical and complicated wars against the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip make a lot of challenges and threats against the Palestinian people in all sectors, mainly in the water sector. And there is no any development in this period of time match the population growth. This is one. And the number two, the destruction. It's maybe programmed destruction for all water sectors, and the wastewater collection system, pipes and other related issues, and the treatment plants. There is 4 treatment plants in Gaza Strip destroyed completely in the wars. 3 wars, it's very big wars, destroyed the infrastructure of the Gaza Strip. A lot of cubic meters of wastewater leakage to all of the environmental elements in Gaza Strip, and the water, groundwater is one of them. So a lot of tests happened in the last years on the water quality and the water contents in the Gaza Strip, and now we reached 97% of the groundwater is not feasible or not healthy to be drank. So the wastewater leakage going to the groundwater aquifer by cesspools, cesspits, or damaged networks, and the damaged treatment plants after the wars, all of them, and a lot of wastewater, untreated wastewater, it's raw in many times. Usually it's raw sewage discharged directly to the seawater. It's a second polluted environmental element in the Gaza Strip. 140,000 cubic meter of wastewater discharged daily to the seawater and shoreline region. And you can imagine the amount of the polluted areas. 50% of the shoreline region, it's 45 kilometer, about 45 kilometer, and the Gaza on the Mediterranean area is polluted. It's half. And the most important issue, the polluted area is beside the crowded city. So in the summer season, the people under this bad situation, without electricity, without any strategic solutions for their problems, and the bad, deteriorated economic situation, the people make the seawater or the beaches as a recreational area. But if they contacted this polluted by all of the types of contaminants, as you know, the wastewater is polluted by biological, viral, bacterial, and we did a lot of tests or experimental tests on these type of wastes, and we found a lot of polluted or pathogens or dangerous microorganisms such as parasites. You can see Scaris lambricoid, Giardia lamblia, Entemiba histolytica, and Thrombus vermicularis, and other parts or species of parasites. It's a gastrointestinal pathogens or parasites, and viral diseases and bacterial. This is the first type of pollutants. The second one is chemical. So we can find in wastewater the heavy metals and other elements can make cancers for the people when they contact directly these polluted areas in the seawater. It will be a very dangerous situation, especially for those have the lower immunity systems, such as children and pregnant women and maybe sick people.
What about what was the neighborhood we were in earlier that we met the family? we went to Khalid Badawiya earlier, and it was, I mean, the stench was nauseating. It's awful, you know. And we went to a house where there's a family, they have kids, they're living there. The woman is telling us, you know, there may be 300 meters from where the raw sewage is.
Yes, lagoons.
Yeah, the woman is telling us that the kids are getting bitten by mosquitoes. She's worried about diseases.
Yes.
Rats sometimes come in when they're sleeping and bite them. What about in places like that where there are families, where there are kids? How dangerous is it for them to be living so close to these fetid pools of sewage?
As I started my talk, it's a very crowded area. The Gaza Strip, as I said, 5,000 people live in 1 square kilometer. This area is very cheap and by, so the people has this area to live, and their children or families beside very nearby this polluted area. I know it's very dangerous for their children or family members. We have two problems there. The causer of the diseases and the carrier of these causers. So the rats or the mosquitoes, or this is a carriers for these diseases makers, which is a viral, or as you know, the contamination in the stool or in feces. So, there is a lot of problems related to the hygienic practices in their homes, such as hand washing, dealing with contaminated water by water-related diseases, as you know, and other related problems related to the contaminated water. The first one is the polluted water from the wastewater and pesticides used in agricultural activities, and a lot of other bad practices happened in the Gaza Strip because of the closure of the borders. So a lot of maybe undesired materials used in agriculture, or such as this water, and in addition to the pollution by the amount of wastewater discharged daily. And another problem related to the water contamination, it's a solid waste. You know, about 1,700 tons of solid waste produced daily from Gaza. Each ton have 200 to 300 liters of leachate. It's a very toxic material produced daily in Gaza Strip. There is no solution for this substances, and all of it leakage by bad system and the dumping sites and percolated directly to the groundwater aquifer. So if we didn't, or if we don't maybe decided to go strategically to solve these problems by strategic and the long time as a period and a large scale, we will not cope, and we will not achieve, we cannot achieve our goals to live in a good or a healthy situation in the Gaza Strip.
How dangerous would you say that it is, for how much at risk are people that live in that particular type of area? Are they at risk to contract different types of diseases?
Maybe chronic and acute. If they exposed to these dangerous issues such as water or drinking water or handling or domestic water or eating something polluted by these pollutants, a lot of diseases such as if the nitrate concentration rise in water, you can see the methemoglobinemia. It's a blue baby. It's something like there is no oxygen in the body. And other problems in the liver and the cancers and the mental retardation, other related problems, it's joined to these pollutants if it's chemically. But biologically, maybe the suffer of parasites or bacteria or these issues make their body or their life is very, very bad and unhealthy completely.
People were telling us that they were even getting, like when they turn on their water, there's even sometimes worms in it and stuff. Why would that be? Is it seeping into the aquifer, the pollutants that are there, or?
If we want to describe this problem, it's related.
Something better. في منطقة الجنوب مثلا بيحكوا انه المية اللي كانت باحد المناطق اللي
صحيح المواصي وغيره
صارت تطلع مية موسخة وشم ريحة المجاري فيها نفس الشيء.
طبعا هذا I'll describe it in you can see the water chain It's a water chain from the source as groundwater and to the mouth as using or drinking. So any point of this circle suppose or maybe exposed to a problem in practices, in a contamination, sudden, chronic, acute, it will make the water unsafe and unhealthy. It's happened in the Gaza Strip. We see already sometime the pollution in the groundwater aquifer by cesspools. Maybe 40,000 people used cesspools or cesspits in Khan Yunis lonely. Just Khan Yunis have 40,000 cesspools or cesspits. It's a boreholes in the land and making a discharge of wastewater from the home or the domestics, and it's as a syringe in of the toxic material to the groundwater aquifer. This is a one. The another one, a seawater intrusion from the shoreline region. If we discharge the wastewater to the seawater, and then it will come back to the groundwater aquifer by seawater intrusion, you can see or imagine how much or how many cubic of pollutants go inside. Now the seawater intruded in the Gaza Strip by 3 kilometers. It's reached the middle of the Gaza as a longitudinal distance. Another source of pollutants in this chain is the bad practices. When the children handle this water collection or bad practices on the storage system in these houses, you will bring the contaminants from everywhere surrounding the family inside this system. Another issue is related to the hygienic practices which are practiced by the human themselves. Hand washing, how to hair care and body care, and the related issues to prevent exposed to the contaminants or the pollutants biologically, chemically, and other related issues.
Are there any functional waste treatment facilities in Gaza?
In the real meaning, there is no, because the 9 years of siege, as I said, and the closure of the borders, there is no any real development matching everything in all sectors, mainly in the environmental sector. If you want to bring or to buy a pipe by 3 or 6 or 7 inches, a lot of problems happened with Israel because it's a dual use. They said, as we said, the knife, you can use it for cutting an apple, but you can kill somebody by this knife. And this is the concept of Israel to handle or to deal with Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip. Any issues has balanced by their concept as a dual use. So the pipes can be used for maybe something bad or something, as Israel said, but it's for us is a vital. It's a collection system for waste, water, or something else. There is no development, real development, strategic development. Everything happened in the Gaza Strip now is urgent, a small scale and very short term. A large scale, there is no large scale projects in the Gaza Strip, such as treatment. In the Middle East, maybe 10,000 desalination plants. Why in Gaza Strip there is no one like that? To produce for us 100 million cubic meter per year, because the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip now consume 200 million cubic meter yearly, annually. And the water rain precipitation feeding our groundwater aquifer by just 100 million cubic meter. And 60% of this amount, just 60% going inside in our, because there is evaporation and something runoff to the seawater and others. So we have a loss in the water budget, we have a deficiency, maybe 140 million cubic meter. We need a strategic plans, just first number one, to treat well, treat the wastewater, to use it again in agricultural activities or discharge it in the groundwater aquifer. But we need to treat it in a level safely and healthy and very feasible and can be used to discharge it in the groundwater aquifer. The second strategic plan or the second strategic term is building for us a treatment plant. But now another problem internationally, the surrounding countries and the Middle East problems take the lights from us. We have alone now, we are now alone fighting coping and struggle against the Israeli occupation to achieve our goals in all issues. In two brackets, it's my specialization is environment and water issues.
So, and sorry, because it's my first time here, so I'm just trying to make sure I understand this correctly. I mean, is any wastewater being treated here, or not at all?
The treated wastewater
Yeah.
is not in two column or in two concepts. The first one is not treated well. There is no any disinfection for wastewater treatment here. There is no chlorination, ozonation, or killing for the pathogens. So the produced, if we said treated wastewater, it's not treated well. The tertiary concept, disinfection, is not applied in Gaza Strip. This is number one. The number two, a lot of time, the arrived wastewater from the domestic and the collection system more or exceed than the capacity of our wastewater treatment plants. Let me say an example. The Al Sheikh Ajlin treatment plant, it's built in 1995 to receive 32,000 cubic meter per day. Now it's receive more than 60 or 70 sometimes. In the noon time daily, more than 70,000 cubic meter daily. The lagoons or the lakes, beside flushing and all of the wastewater going outside the collection system, it's not treated well. There is no any removing efficiency for the organic material as COD or BOD in a good way to be feasible or could be used for agricultural activities or discharge again in the groundwater aquifer. The second term, disinfection or killing for pathogens. And the third time, a lot of time, these lagoons flushed or the wastewater going outside and by slope, by the gravity going directly from Wadi Gaza to the seawater shoreline region. And you can see by eyes, without laboratory works, you can see the black colors. It's a turbidity by organic material, and other problems happen there. The eutrophication by nitrogen and phosphorus contaminants make algae blooming, because there is a lot of feeding issues from the wastewater, and all of it make the eutrophication phenomenon or phenomena there in the shoreline region.
What is the thing that's most critical to be done right now? What, if you could solve this, what is the thing that needs to happen now to start dealing with the problem?
The first one, upgrading well and develop all of the treatment plants, wastewater treatment plant in Gaza Strip, to cope or to match the received amount of wastewater, and it will be in a parallel for the population growth. This is the first. And we want to treat it well. I saw there in Belgium and France and Netherlands, they treated the wastewater to drink water. It's a high level technology for treated this wastewater. So in the Gaza Strip, if we reach this level for treatment of our wastewater, we can use daily 140,000 cubic meter for the agricultural, and use it for maybe discharge again to the groundwater aquifer, and keep our municipal water or rainfall water take a rest for the time. This is the first. The second one, build for us a treatment, that's desalination, seawater desalination plants, but we need a power now. We need a continuous electricity. Another problem related to the treatment plants in the Gaza Strip, wastewater treatment plants, the electricity off. All of the pumping stations and, as you know, a mechanical machine, a trickling filter, bioirritating tower contactors, and our related issues or facilities work on electricity in the treatment plants. If it gonna off, the treatment process will be down.
Can you repeat that point one more time about the electricity? How important the electricity is and why you don't have
Okay, the electricity in the Gaza Strip is very important for all of water sector in the Gaza Strip. The water supply for the domestic and the wastewater collection. It's very important because a lot of areas in the Gaza Strip, the topography is not same. So in the areas to produce this wastewater for the treatment plants, we need a pump. We need a pump stations, and there is maybe more than 100 pump stations in the Gaza Strip, which transfer the wastewater from the domestic areas to the wastewater treatment plants. If the electricity is dropped down, there is no solar for the generators, so the facilities and the mechanical equipments, if we can say that, in the wastewater treatment is gonna off. So all of the treatment facilities or all of the treatment process will be dropped down.
Yeah.
Electricity continuously is very important to continue or to make the work in the wastewater and water sector to be continuous.
And so how bad, by environmental standards, is the sort of the crisis right now? What level is it at? How bad is it at here in Gaza?
If we want to say about the water quality or the wastewater quality, it's two different terms. In the first one, as I said, 97% of the groundwater aquifer is not safe for drinking. It's not healthy because the standard limits or the limits or the tests of the elements and all of the experimental tests on this water in the Gaza Strip is exceed the standard levels, WHO standard. We can say an example for nitrate, it's not acceptable to be more than 550 milligram per liter. In 1 liter of water, it's not acceptable to be exceed or more than 50 milligram to be safe. In the Gaza Strip, we saw sometimes in our wells, maybe a major wells or the strategic wells in the Gaza Strip, we found it more than 400, or 4,000, I'm sorry, 4,000 milligram per liter as ammonia. It's related to the methemoglobinemia and the blue baby, and that's a real problem we suffered from in the Gaza Strip. Another issues like TDS, total dissolved solids, and calcium, potassium content, and other problems related to all of the standards of the WHO or related international organizations related to the water quality. The wastewater is same, it's not more different. Because if you want to produce from these wastewater treatment plants a usable discharge or a usable produced treated wastewater, you should be on the level where you want to use it. For the agricultural, there is a levels, but we didn't match it anymore or now. And other reuse for this wastewater or treated wastewater is not acceptable for any international or local standard.
And just one last time, how dangerous do you think it is for people if they're living in neighborhoods where they're just, a few hundred meters away from just stagnant, raw sewage?
If we
let's forget about small details and go to the
okay.
more significant headline.
Okay. If you can see the curves of the cancers in the Gaza Strip, it's jump within the recent 5 years. Maybe the last or the recent number, maybe more than 70%. The cancers jump in the Gaza Strip related to all of the bad practices, mainly the contact with wastewater, reusing or using or handle or drinking a contaminated water discharged from our groundwater aquifer or transported for us by bad vouchers or mechanical vehicles which transfer the water between the houses every day. More than 120 company in the Gaza Strip. It's a business company. It's not controlled completely and not covered and not followed up by the local government or so on. So it's a produce maybe 60%, the number we have, 60% for these companies is not acceptable by the healthy terms. The people living in these marginalized areas such as Al-Malalha, Al-Zarqa, Al-Qarya Al-Badawiyya, and many of these others is related or maybe suffered from many challenges and threatened in the term of hygienic, term of the water abundance. Because if you want to make a good situation for the family, you should provide them by at least 100 liters of usable water daily. Now, the reports talk about 50 50 to 60. It's a 50 or 60, it's an average. So it's mean that maybe there is a people didn't receive this amount of water. If we didn't receive this amount of water, you can imagine the health situation.
And you'd say that the spike in cancers is directly related to the contamination in water?
It's
that's
one.
the question,
Okay.
Doctor. Let's go. We want to focus on this family and other families, of course, same condition.
Yes.
How bad, in general,
Okay.
for this family and other families being such close, to these sewage pools اللي هو حوالين ما مدى الخطورة؟
Okay,
هل
okay.
هذا بسبب أمراض؟
Okay,
وإذا
okay, okay.
بسبب أمراض، ما هي الأمراض؟
Okay.
وماذا هل يجب نشيلهم ولا نشيل البرد؟
Okay.
أو نعالج البرد؟
Okay, okay.
يعني خلينا نركز شوية.
Okay. Living beside these lagoons or this contaminated area by wastewater, it's very dangerous, as everybody know. But what is the most important issue in this problem? As you know, the Gaza Strip is very crowded. We agree, and we need to rebuild or upgrade the treatment plants. And fighting all of these carriers for the pathogens like mosquitoes and rats and cats and dogs and other related animals which catch these biological pathogens, microorganisms, to the people who live beside these lagoons. Especially the children and the pregnant women, and as I said, they are exposed more than others because the immunity system is very weak, and a lot of dysentery, a lot of gastrointestinal parasites, make a giardia lamblia, Entamoeba histolytica, and other related issues such as liver failure or kidney, and a problem for the skin because of the chronic exposure to these diseases will happen. A lot of trachoma, as if you know, the eyes problems related to this contamination, and the microorganisms who's living in the wastewater or the contaminated area. And as you know, the soil will be contaminated. Agricultural activities and uptake by the plants will produce another problem for these family by the handle or eating the contaminated vegetables or agricultural products from these areas.
Sorry? What to do then?
So for this problem, first of all, we need a strategic solution for the treatment plant, upgrading this treatment plant by strategic way. Number two, by upgrading and fighting for these contaminants or carriers, by make a siege, make a fighting for these contaminants by such chemicals related to killing or to fighting, combat these problems. Number two, no way to keep the people beside these lagoons. We should transfer them for another area. It's suitable and it's applied, but just give us, if the family didn't have or don't have enough money to buy another home in another area, it's not their responsibility. This is the responsibility for the government and other organizations to transfer them far away from these lagoons and make a defense area and make a protection for this area to keep the people away, far away from direct contact for these contaminated lagoons by wastewater, and keep the animals away, such as sheep or donkey or dogs or mosquitoes or others, by keeping them away from this, because it's a transfer. Carriers, it will carry out this contamination or this pathogens organisms to the people when they contact them directly.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate
Okay.
it. Can we just get,
Maybe if we have a lot of time, we can describe it more than what it is. We have a lot of branches in our problems, and all of it is cumulated. There is no, in the base, in the basic principles of our problem, there is no strategic solution. So every, if we can say, intervention it makes me an urgent. Our population growth is go on because we have now 4.5 percent as the food it's people. And so the goods and services, it's a two element in environment, how to give the people their needs and how to take the waste produced by them. And
كمل
okay,
عشان لك معي.
okay. Go ahead. So it's a two.
انفعل الدكتور
Yeah. أنا خدت حالي في محاضرة. Like a lecture. So if we imagine how to manage these two items in the Gaza Strip by the concept of footprint, if you know it, how many land for each body to give them a suitable or a good life, it's a lifestyle afterwards. In the Gaza Strip, there is no strategic study, planning, strategic management for our problem. There is no imagination about the goods, what they need, and the services, the pollution, wastewater discharge, solid waste, air pollution, soil. We need how many? It's complicated. In addition, for the political circumstances in the Gaza Strip, because we have lost our friends in the world, because we are fighting each other, as you know, Hamas and Fatah, and the destruction of the relation between the Palestinians themselves. And the second one, the political circumstances outside the Gaza Strip, occupation, and to achieve our goals. In addition, bodies just came to us to to take it suitable to be done. A lot of projects, a lot of funds, a lot of donors. We don't support Fatah, and these friends of Hamas, a friend of Fatah, and this is we lost as a people a lot of strategic projects in all issues. But my field of work and study is environmental issues and water.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. We kept you talking a long time.
I hope that
No, you were great.